Thank you and good morning. My privilege to give you a slightly different take from what we've heard so far, stories from Jharkhand and Andhra Pradesh. My take is what a private sector organization engaged in education, how it views the MDG, what is its role, what are the kind of things it is doing, and how we go about it. My name is Shraman Jha, and I represent NIIT Limited, which most of us would associate with IT education. But what is not so well known is perhaps the largest player as far as school education in India is concerned, and it has many, many dimensions to that. So with that preamble, let me commence that most of the things that NIIT does in the area of schools comes under a kind of a sub-brand called NGuru, and that is where it is. Let us step back about 20 years to 1990, when the World Conference on Education, that called for universal primary education by 2000. Big conference, big proposition made, report card checked in the year 2000, and globally we found that 104 million were still not in primary school. 57% of them were women, and surprise, surprise, 94% of all the people, these 104 million people, children who were not in primary school, were surprisingly from only two parts of the world: South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa. Clearly, these are the geographies where the problems are the strongest, the sharpest, and the most difficult. So not surprisingly, when the Millennium Development Goals were formed by the UN, primary education was listed as one of them. While it has been mentioned earlier, just so that all of us are on the same page, I would like to list out what were the 8 Millennium Development Goals which were listed out. One was in the area of poverty removal. Second was on gender equality. Third was on child mortality. Fourth was on maternal health. The fifth was on HIV, AIDS, and other diseases. The next was on environment and on global partnerships. Of course, universal primary education comes in very strongly as one of them. At that point in time, the UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon, she said something, and I quote, "Between now and the year 2015, we must make sure that promises made become promises kept. The consequences of doing otherwise are profound. Health, illness, and despair, needless suffering, lost opportunities for millions upon millions of people." Clearly sober words, somber ones, and if we've seen our track record between promises and the reality globally, regionally within South Asia, very specifically in India, we'll see, yes, that these are words which need to be taken seriously. Our overall track record between our promises made, intent stated, and actual delivery has always been falling short. Having said that, are there things where we have moved forward? Most certainly, yes. Is the direction right? Most certainly, yes. Is it enough? Well, the answer is available for all of us to see. A personal perspective that I have is that you cannot force anyone to go into primary schooling, whether it is for the child himself to decide or for the parents to decide. And there are various visible manifestations of how a desire or a visible benefit can spur this. Some of the earlier speakers spoke a little about midday meals. Many of us would have read and perhaps seen firsthand the impact that bicycles for girl students have had on attendance in schools in Bihar of late. As an IIT, we believe that the universalization of education does not necessarily have to start with a classic ABC in a very, very, very basic school. Perhaps we can leapfrog one or two layers and generations straight away. And one distinctive part that NIT has brought to the table has been the use of IT education, even in areas which do not have electricity, do not have Pakka schools. Is it as much or as large as one would have wanted it to be? Certainly not. But the results are extremely encouraging that kids who have not been through a formal classic school system can be just as effective in using various tools that the computer has to offer as many of us sitting in this room. Indeed, some of us may have heard of the Hole in the Wall project, which is partly funded by the Ministry of External Affairs in India, where computers are just placed unaided at different locations in villages, sometimes in slums, and places where you wouldn't expect kids to have formal computer education. And they're left around to touch it, feel it, tap it, and learn and experiment by themselves. And lo and behold, across geographies, across countries, you discover that 3 days later, kids have figured out how it works and what they want to do out of it. So things happen often magically, but these are experiments that have given rich results and which we are very proud to share with you. I will, through the next 5 slides, just take you through a little structured view on some of these thoughts that we have. NIIT, as we talked about, is the largest player in the school section, and at last count, we cover more than 15,000 schools across the country, and the total number of school students that have gone through some form of NIIT intervention is close to 10 million. That's almost 1 crore. It's a fairly big number, and this encompasses both the widest reach of government schools as well as that of private schools. A pyramid which kind of talks about how the entire transition takes place, and right now we confine ourselves really to the bottom of the pyramid, which is essentially as an integral life tool, as skills of life, which is what the student needs. And our definition of skills of life goes beyond defining the A, B, C of the alphabet and a little beyond. So these are some pictures of some of the computer labs which have been set up across the villages. These are, of course, perhaps some of the smarter ones and better ones that we've used for photographs. But rest assured, even if the look and feel is not what it is, the content and the quality is exactly what is being faced across. Reaching the northeast of India has always been a challenge, and as this picture says, I mean, if it has to be done, it has to be done. This is a picture of computers being transferred on elephant back somewhere in Arunachal. So if we have to reach it, we do a bit to reaching it. Importantly, the point I want to stress here is the point number 2, which is that the dropouts have been arrested. One of the big challenges that Dr. Saxena also pointed out about Jharkhand was the issue of facing dropouts. Students do register. How do you keep them in? You cannot force them in. They have to want to stay in. And very importantly, the use of computer-aided education has made a very, very significant difference in this area. There's a lot of use of ICT, and again, we spoke of Andhra Pradesh, where they spoke of mobile science labs, of mathematics labs. Education is not what it used to be, and funnily enough, it is not very expensive to actually start using many of these modern tools of education, which get the children in, make them want to study, and certainly take us all on the path of the Millennium Development Goals of universalization of education. So that very briefly is where NIIT stands and where it seeks to make a very positive and a direct contribution in this area. We do believe that very little can be done anywhere unless all of the Millennium Development Goals are fulfilled, and very critically, the one on universal primary education is very important. Universal primary education does not necessarily mean just very, very basic counting 1, 2, 3 and ABC. It can be seen in a slightly more different perspective, and that is where we seek to partner and supplement with a lot of government and other bodies in fulfilling of these goals. Thank you very much.